Hey Creole family and anyone else that's not from Creole but's hopping on here. My name's Isaac and I'm so excited to be sharing with you my story and what God's been teaching me this past year. I hope that from my mistakes and from all that I've gone through that you'll be able to take away something. I just wanted to share with you just some key points from this past year that's really hit me hard and just getting real with you guys, I've been through the hardest year of my life. Definitely. Through every year that I've been alive, this past year has definitely been the hardest. It's been a constant battle of trying to fix my own problems, trying to get my head above water a little bit, and just trying to, you know, be on my own, really trying to live my own life and ultimately failing at that and recognizing the fact that God is the only way to live. God is the only way to experience life in its fullest. I feel that me and God are constantly doing the same thing. Well, you know, God's always good and constant. I'm the one that's always changing. I'm always asking God to show me the best way to live, showing me the solutions that I need to all the problems that I face. And He does, but there's times where the ways that He showed me and the solutions that He gave me aren't the ways and the solutions that I want. So what I do is I go to pastors or leaders or anyone else that's older and wiser than me, asking for some other different answer. Not asking for it, but expecting it. You know, thinking that, oh, they're going to say something different that I want to hear. But ultimately, they give me the exact same answer that God gave me in the first place. And it just annoys me. It makes me so upset. But subconsciously, I'm already like, I knew this was going to happen. And me and God just always go back and forth like that. I ask for help. He gives it to me, but I don't want it because it's not convenient to me. It requires me to sacrifice the way that I'm living. It requires me to sacrifice friends. It requires me to sacrifice something that I don't want to give up. And I find that God is always just speaking to me and He's trying to give me advice and counsel that I need, but it's either I don't want to hear it or I make myself busy so I don't even have time to hear it. So, like I said before, this year has definitely been the hardest. It's definitely been full of trial, full of tribulation, day after day, week after week. I'm always in something. Something's always happening. School, I was almost kicked out because my grades were terrible. Um, Me and my family were fighting so much to the point where I almost moved out. um, I was constantly feeling alone because I had switched churches and I didn't know where to call home. I didn't know where to go. I was fired from not one, but two jobs in the span of a couple months, which was rough, definitely. I was dealing with all sorts of problems with friends, people that I thought were my friends, people that I thought were close, but ended up just using me because it just to make themselves feel better. And I was left feeling alone. I was left feeling like all that I'm worth is just a dollar. All I'm worth is just my company. All that I'm worth is just my laughs. All that I'm worth is just what I can give others. I felt that absolutely no one around me could help me. Absolutely no one around me wanted to be with me. I felt so worthless as a person because I felt that everything that made me who I am was just taken away. And I felt like the life was literally sucked out of me day after day because I was just constantly giving away myself to things and to people that I knew wouldn't give me what I need, but because I saw that they were happy, I just did nothing about it. You know, I never set my priorities straight. I was never taking things seriously because I just thought that this is just a phase, bro. I'll get out of it eventually. You know, God will bring me out of it eventually. But then I just found myself just going deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole that I was ultimately digging for myself. You know, I had the shovel, I was digging the hole, and I was just going deeper and deeper into it because I never thought to change the way that I was doing things. I just thought that God will eventually take me out of it. I just have to keep going for the ride, and by some magic beautiful way, God will take me out of my funk and pluck me into this better life that I'm supposed to be living. But it never happened, and I was just so confused. Like, God, why am I going through all this trial if you promise that I'll be the head and not the tail? You'll promise me so many blessings. You'll bring me into a place flowing with milk and honey. God, why am I still in this funk? Why am I still going through this, you know? And I was just so confused because a problem came after problem, and I was just going through the emotions. I was just going through it, and I was like, God is literally abandoned me. He's gone. I gotta do this on my own. I gotta fix every problem that's in my life by myself. No help, nothing. I gotta do this on my own. And ultimately, it just led me into so many problems because I'm human. I'm not perfect. And I'm never gonna have a perfect plan because I'm imperfect. And I just thought that the plans that I was making for myself were the best plans that I could make because, you know, I'm being an adult. I'm doing things on my own. You know, I'm moving forward. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I just felt so good. But, you know, they were so temporary. The solutions I made for myself, so temporary. It would work for a hot minute, but then when another problem came, I had to do something else, and that would last for a hot minute, and then I would face another problem, and I was just going through everything all at once, and it was overwhelming because no one can do that for long. There's only so much that you can do as a human being until you're just done, until you're just seeped of all your energy, until there's literally not an ounce of energy left for you to do to fix that problem anymore. You need something bigger. You need something greater. And at my lowest point, honestly, my lowest point was when I didn't even know if I could go back to school. I was staying at a friend's because I couldn't be at home. I had gotten a new job, but I was scared that I was going to lose it any day. You know, I wasn't talking to any of the people that actually needed to be in my life. I felt alone, and I didn't know what to do until God spoke to me, and he was just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you going? What's your plan?" And he was like playing games with me, but not really. But he was just like, "What's your plan now? Show me. Tell me what your plan is, you know?" And at that moment, I was like, God, I have no plan. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I'm scared that I'm just going to keep digging myself deeper and deeper into this hole, and I'm never going to get out. I was I was done trying to fix my own problems. I knew at that moment that I needed God to fix everything. I needed him to come back into my life and break things back into order. And that meant that I had to release control of what I thought was my life. I thought at that moment that everything that I was doing, I had to do it by myself. That I couldn't have anyone else coming in to help me because they will either use me for their own purpose or they won't give me what I need. But at that moment, I realized that the only person, the only being that could help me was God. Because God is always for you and He's never against you. And it's something that I had forgotten because I was just so wrapped up in myself. I was so wrapped up in, what I thought was the right thing that I totally forgot that God was there the entire time, keeping me safe, making sure that I had reached this point where I realized I needed Him back in my life. When I was facing troubles in school, He helped me to get back on track. When I was dealing with all this crap with my family, He was the glue that kept us together. When I was fired from my job and placed into this new job that I was at Tommy, He helped me to flourish there, and He helped teach me the value of hard work. All of this made me realize that God needs us to be patient on Him. And the thing is, God isn't going to rush to match your schedule. He's not, because that's not how He does things. God has a way of doing things that we will never understand. And that's a good thing. Because if we could do things how God does things, we wouldn't need Him. But it's the fact that we can't should push us to believe in Him and to have trust in Him. When I was going through all of this past year, it never occurred to me that if I was patient with God and I had listened to what He wanted from me, I could have avoided so much trouble, so much headache, and I could have done things differently. But God didn't want me to dwell on the past because the past is done. There's nothing He can do about it. But He wanted me to trust Him and trust that the future that He had for me was bright. And that's what I did. I got myself up, shook off my dust, and I moved forward because that's what God wants us to do. He doesn't want us to dwell on the things on the past because that's done and that's gone. But the future hasn't been set yet. And the thing that, secured me is that God does know my future. He knows what's going to happen. And I didn't have to try harder. I didn't have to do things more. I just had to trust Him. I just had to let Him take me to where I needed to go. I just had to rest and fall into His arms and let Him carry me to where I needed to go. God, He's good, and He is always working towards your good. So if there's one thing that I can leave you guys with, is that God wants you to be patient on Him. He wants you to let Him take you to where you need to go. He doesn't want you to try to fix it on your own because you're just going to be left drained. You're going to be left tired. You're going to be left thinking that you're not enough. You're going to be left thinking that no one cares for you. You're going to be left thinking that you're a failure and that you can't match up and that every position that you're in is just going to end up in disaster. That's what happens without God. When you take God out of the picture, you're just left with yourself. And man, being by yourself, it can be scary because you're left with your thoughts. You're left thinking, wow, I am not enough. And the thing is, we're not enough, but God is, and He will be enough for you if you allow Him to be. I just want to say thank you guys for listening in. If you've reached this far, I want you guys to know that God is for you. He's not against you. He wants you to prosper. He wants you to do well, and He wants nothing more than to see you succeed. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, whatever time you're watching this. And I just want to say God bless, be safe, and I hope to see you guys soon. God bless, guys.